It's finally spring and April is just around the corner. It's crazy how as soon as the time changed, it got a little warmer out. I had way more energy, so let's reset. Let's get winter out of here. I make it a point to clean a few things every month. That's really easy for me to forget. And one of those things are my makeup brushes. So I'm gonna let these soak for a bit and then start some spring cleaning. If you watched my reset for March, you know that I split up cleaning into like 2 different categories, one big clean and then one general clean. So a big clean would be like cleaning out the refrigerator, and a general clean is just kind of like the normal stuff, cleaning up the clutter, vacuuming, you know. But since it is spring, I am kind of wrapping all of that into one to do a spring clean. I probably won't be able to get all of the cleaning done today, but I am going to try. And you might be thinking, great, love this, but hey, it's still March. Why are you doing an April reset in March? That's because I like going into the next month fresh, having already reset. And it's almost like I'm turning in an assignment early instead of doing it like the week of. It's just to like kind of get ahead of it. But let's be real, it's really only a difference of like 1, maybe 2 weeks. It's really not that big of a deal. I'm pretty sure in my late teen years I struggled with seasonal depression, but as an adult, from about November to mid-March, I never think I have it until the time changes and there's one day I can go outside without my winter coat. I'll feel things I haven't felt in half a year, like motivation, a gratefulness to be alive, and a desire to be social. I think seasonal depression starts to affect me around November and December, but because I'm so busy with holidays and social stuff, it's really easy to ignore it, and then it really tightens its grip in January. But I still don't notice because I think I'm just tired and burnt out from the last 2 months, and then February and March, I don't notice anything is wrong because this is my new normal. When I get to that one day, when it's light until 7 p.m. and the weather is kind of hinting at summer, I instantly snap out of it. I can see that light at the end of the tunnel. I have hope. Summer is almost here. And I know it's gonna snow again and the temperature is going to be something awful like 12 degrees, but in my mind, it's almost summer. It's embarrassing how intensely I'm affected by the temperature and how much natural light I need to get in a day. And by the way, depression is no joke. Anyone with it could probably tell you how negatively it affects their life, but nobody should be worrying about me. I am fine, I am fully functioning. Luckily, over the years, I've learned how to deal with seasonal depression, and I kind of know how I'm going to feel at what time and when I'll be feeling better. I could almost write it down on the calendar. Seasonal depression starts on this day and ends on this day. And that's good, because if I feel worse than I'm used to feeling, or if it extends past spring and into summer, I'll know something is wrong and I should probably dial up my old therapist. My point is, I am so happy summer is almost here. Where I live, it usually doesn't get super warm until the middle, maybe end of June. So I still have like 3 months, but in my mind, it is right around the corner.
I know I said I feel like a different person when spring begins, but that's not completely true. I definitely feel different, but more like I'm moving away from my winter self into my summer self, if that makes sense. There's a little bit of a transition period, and that's where I'm at right now. And you might be the same way, so I'd like to share some things that I do to come back to life after winter, how I defrost for spring.
I actually don't know how I fit all of this in that cabinet.
We're entering the second quarter of the year, and when I look back at the last 3 months, sometimes it feels like I haven't done anything, but that's not true. Even though I was tired and less motivated than normal, I did accomplish some things and I did fall off in other areas. So it can be helpful to do a reflection on the last 3 months and make sure you know what you did well and what you want to change moving forward. This can just be a thought exercise, or if you're a journaler, this could be a fun prompt. Whenever I have a random idea, I write it down in my journal, in my notes app, somewhere in Notion. And in spring, I start to get my energy back, that energy that I can put into acting on those ideas. So a nice way to transition to the new season is by collecting all of those ideas into one place. And if you want to, have a time where you sit down, pen in hand, and plan out more of those ideas, figure out how you're going to execute them. But I'm just going to be focusing on collecting and reviewing them.
So I'm working on a project pan this year, and one of the things I did was depot all or most of my powders. This makes it so much easier for me to use everything, but it does get kind of messy, so every month I like to try to go through and just clean it out. This month I'm working on eyeshadows that start with C and D, and thankfully it's a lot less than what I was dealing with last month. So I am working through Desert, which is the one on the end underneath the black. So that fits into like this month's use, and I try to use each shadow for the month 10 different times. I keep track. But also my goal for that is to just get through it this year, because I have so many browns that look just like that, so I might as well just like completely get through one. And this morning I saw that it had a little pan for the very first time. So happy I'm making progress. Honestly, this side isn't too messy, and I don't really see any broken shadows. I think I can just clean up this one little spot. I have some empties. I can't remember if I showed this in the last video or not, but I finished my Revlon eyeliner. I bought the exact same thing again. For Valentine's Day, Connor got me these small perfume sprays. They're from Demeter, and this one was espresso. I went through this so fast. It smells so good. This was a sad one. I used up my Coca-Cola cherry chapstick. I do want to buy another one. These are just like sad pans. I didn't even want to pan these. And then these are two of the exact same things. I bought it like the same time. These are concealers. They are old. I went to go use it, and one of them kind of had a weird scent. I mean, these do kind of smell like paint, but it smelled a little worse than what I remembered. So I thought I'd just play it safe and get rid of both of them. I keep a running list of any like small, annoying task that I don't want to do. It goes on task list. During the monthly reset, I try to check off some stuff from that list. I have a lot of like clothes mending and altering, so I thought I'd tackle just a few pieces. I love this jacket so much, but the shoulder pads are a little bit much, so I'm wondering if I'm able to take the shoulder pads out, would it make it a little bit more wearable? I don't know how to take shoulder pads out, so I thought we'd figure it out together. These two all have the same thing I'm trying to figure out: buttons. This one is only missing two right here. This is one of my favorite coats ever. I wear this all the time. This one I just got from the bins, not the Goodwill bins, it was a different bins. And someone cut out all the buttons and left like a huge hole right there. Incredibly annoying. Oh, the last thing I'm gonna try to tackle from like the clothes mending list. I bought this fabric shaver and lint remover. I did try it out, it did work. Maybe I'll do this in a different video if I can figure out how to get this to work. Can you see what I mean about the shoulder pads? Like, it's not the worst. It's actually really fun when it's buttoned, but I usually don't wear it like that. I usually just wear it open. I do wonder if I can just take away some of this padding, just a little bit of that structure, if I could take it away, if it would just look a bit more natural on me. I bought this. This is a little sewing case. I'm hoping there's a seam ripper in here. I am terrified I'm going to ruin this jacket because I do love it so much. Look at all that. This is the side with the shoulder pad, and this is without. It's obviously still structured over here, which is good. I like structured. It's just not so much.
You're not gonna be wearing your jean shorts in winter, and you're not gonna be wearing your puffer jacket in summer. Wearing certain clothes can be a fun way to feel like you're transitioning out of winter. And after wearing my green puffer coat for what felt like 6 months, I am ready to put it away for the season. Unfortunately, it's not quite warm enough here to do that yet, but if it is where you live, this is a good time to put away your winter coats, your chunky sweaters, your scarves, your hats, your gloves, and bring out all of your fun summer clothes. Or if it's warm and it's not that warm yet, you can keep your winter clothes out and then bring out your summer clothes so you can make some like spring transitional outfits. Again, not quite warm enough for me to do that yet, but I will be doing that sometime in April. Okay, it is a little ugly, but both sides are stitched up. Hopefully it stays. It really doesn't matter if it looks nice or not. I mean, you're never gonna see it. It looks so much better. Every month I try to plan out certain things, like meeting up with certain people. If there's an event I want to go to, I make sure, you know, I get that on the calendar. If I have like a trip or something coming up, making sure I'm planned for that. I'm not going to do too much planning here on camera because I think that's kind of boring to watch. But 2 things I'm doing on camera today. First, while I do meal plan and I do cook like at least one like main meal per week, I always like having a backup meal, usually something that's frozen. I do have a bag of potatoes that I do not want to go bad, so I think I'm going to make just a really simple potato soup and freeze that. I only have 7 potatoes. I don't have that many, but we're making it anyway, and I'm just using whatever I had. So I'm putting in 1 red onion, do like a spoonful of minced garlic. In warmer months, I like to eat more fruits and vegetables. I think one of the reasons for that is because I'm tired of comfort food and I want something fresh. Another reason is probably because I'm more motivated to take care of myself, and eating better is an easy way to do that. And eating better gives me more energy. So it's a nice loop. If planning meals out like I do is a little overwhelming, you don't have to do that. You could think of how you could get more vegetables into every meal. I don't always do this, but it's nice to try sometimes. Something really easy I do is I cut up a cucumber or a radish to have on the side when I have my eggs in the morning, or I'll have my protein pancakes with berries. And if you don't buy produce because it goes bad before you can finish it, I completely understand. Do not overlook canned and frozen vegetables. And for vegetables that you can't buy canned or frozen, you can try to freeze them yourself.
While I wait for that to finish cooking, let's go to the second thing that I want to plan today. I'm going to be meal planning. So this month I've been going through the Moosewood and the Enchanted Broccoli Forest cookbooks, and I have went through and marked everything that sounds really good that I want to try, and then every week I flip through and choose from my selection what I want to make. The plan today is to try to plan out 3 to 4 meals. I made about 5 servings, so I can freeze these. Oh, I forgot. Brushes are clean, brushes are dry. These are going back upstairs.
Look at the weather app and see if there's any days it would be nice enough for you to go out and take walks. Like, actually make a plan. Plan out the time that you're going to go, where you're going to go. Are you going to go down the street? Are you going to drive to a park and walk there?
I really hope you're going to be able to hear me. I don't know about that.
It was super nice when I went out, so I took that as an opportunity to walk between the stores if I could, park far away from the stores and the parking lots, drive with my windows down, etc. And when I got back from shopping, I did go for a walk in the park. And you don't have to walk. You can plan some other sort of outdoor activity. You could play tennis, have a picnic, you could even just sit down and read outside. In spring, it's like you get those little hints of summer, and I really like taking advantage of those. And it's just so refreshing to be outside after such like a gloomy and sad winter.
I tried looking online again for a shirt, couldn't find anything. This is so annoying. I'm just gonna forget about this for now and move on to the buttons.
I know this doesn't really relate to sewing, but another piece of advice I would give is make sure you've adjusted to the time change if your time changes, and try waking up earlier. My alarm is set every morning for 6:30. It's actually hard for me to get out of bed that early, but I am slowly getting adjusted to it. Also, try to notice what's happening in nature. The birds are chirping in the morning again, and it sounds like there's more of them than there were in winter, or at least they're being more vocal. Last year we had a family of bunnies living in our yard, and we haven't seen them too much this winter, but the other day I did see one, and it looks like they're back. I live in the Midwest, so spring is when the weather is really unstable. Lots of storms, and obviously I don't want there to be any crazy storms. I don't want tornadoes, but it is a sign that it's warming up, and I do like watching the storm chasers when they're close to where I live.
So I bought 3 different types of buttons. These like general purpose white ones, these really cute star ones, and then these wooden ones. The star ones are for this jacket. I sewed them on last night, and I did a little pink thread with it just to make it a little bit more fun. And then on the inside I used some of these small white buttons. I really like how it turned out. Took forever though, and unfortunately in this video I am not going to be working on the green jacket because I was stupid and thought that the wooden buttons were the same size as what the jacket needed. I'm gonna try to do something that I've been putting off since I moved in here, getting the hard water stains off of the shower. I feel like I've tried everything, but I was doing a little bit of research, and some people said to try using really fine steel wool pads. I'm also gonna be using like just a general all-purpose cleaner. I've got good news and bad news. Good news is it looks like it may be working a little bit, but I can notice a little bit of difference. I just think it's gonna take like days and a lot of elbow grease.
the cleaner I was using was kind of getting to me and I wasn't in there for very long. So I think I'm gonna have to wait until there's a lot of really nice days in a row where I can have that window open. I've been looking online trying to find something to wear, and I found two options. I'm really not a fan of either. So this one's on Shein. Lulu's has this one, and it's okay. I'm not a fan of these ties. So I'm going shopping later, and I guess maybe I should show you what the suit actually looks like on. I don't have high hopes, but I really just want to find something. Ideally, I think I want to try to find a bodysuit. I really didn't want to go out. I was tired and feeling pretty unmotivated. How winter of me. But part of transitioning into the version of myself that has more energy is forcing myself to go out within reason. Because sometimes I'll go out and I'll have more energy. I knew that this day was one of those days, but sometimes I can't force it. I can't always force myself to have more energy. It really depends on how I'm feeling and what I'm going to go do. Like, I don't have to be as on or energized to go shopping compared to I'm going out for dinner with people that I don't know that well. And I try to think of it like I gave myself like 2-3 months to hibernate. It's time to come out of that. It's time to wake up. It's time to have some more energy. I don't usually go for a neckline like this, but I think this works. I think this is good. So every month I do beauty maintenance, and that involves doing a pedicure, and I like to make my own like sugar scrub for that. So I just use coconut oil and sugar. I don't really have a recipe. I just add sugar until I like the texture. And I don't make very much. Like, this should be plenty. All right, let's talk supplies. I try to use just what I have. First, we have the foot tub spa thing. I got this from Walmart. It's one that heats up. And this is my nail box. I have acetone to remove nail polish, and I do need to get paper towels over here too. I have bath salts. These are really nice. This is lavender. This stone brush thing came with this. It actually like sits here. It's all right. I do have another stone. I honestly usually don't use a brush, but I did buy this one from Walmart, just wide nail brush. I have yet to use it. I love using this. This looks disgusting, but this is very, very rough. And honestly, this helps so much. Definitely get one of these. Nail clippers, my nail polishes. The rest of the stuff in here are for press-ons, and then I have lotion. And then after I layer a ton of this on, I'll put on fuzzy socks. I have to let this heat up, so I think I'm gonna go make a tea in the meantime. Okay, it still hasn't heated up. Also, it's kind of loud, so I'm using my mic. I think you can probably still hear it. But while I'm waiting, something I also try to do is some sort of digital cleaning every month. So on the agenda this month, I want to go through downloads. Again, I did that last month, but I think I just need to do it monthly. And then also just clean up my desktop. I also want to make sure my Pinterest is cleaned up, looking good. I am constantly making boards on there. A lot of them are private, but I still have a hard time navigating it sometimes, and sometimes boards don't really need to exist anymore. Some stuff I can move to archive. I just need to go through all of that. I have this Pinterest board called Summer is the State of Mind, and I have a hard time finding the right pins for it, but it's for things or activities that make me feel like my summer self, that doesn't revolve around being outside or the temperature or certain summer activities. So these things could be used or implemented or noticed at any time during the year. One example I can think of is eating colorful vegetables. I already talked about vegetables a little bit, but when summer comes around, I usually crave vegetables more than I usually do. Another thing is feeling energized to walk and that peaceful feeling of walking. Also, letting the light in by opening the curtains, burning candles or burning perfume that reminds me of summer. I have this perfume called Thunderstorm that I really, really love, and I'm looking for a candle or a perfume that kind of smells like freshly washed linen or cotton that's been in the sun. Making plans and being more social reminds me of summer. Also, planning out trips, cutting my hair and getting the urge to cut my hair, using a self-tanner. And I'm sure there's plenty of other things too, but I just need to sit down and figure out what they are, mostly because I don't like having an empty Pinterest board. But if you think this would be helpful for you, I would recommend making a list and starting with your senses. What foods or drinks do you crave more or have more often in summer? And by the way, you could do this with spring. You could make a spring as a state of mind type of board, but summer's my favorite season. So that's why I'm doing summer. And then think about anything that is maybe nostalgic or has been a constant in your life in summers. For example, mourning doves. I always hear them in the morning in spring and summer. For a while, there was a mourning dove living right outside of my window, and she made a nest in a plant pot, and that's where she had her babies. So I would wake up to a ton of chirping in the morning. It was very cute. Once you have your summer list made, it can be helpful to try to figure out how you can act on those things to transition to your summer self. I know that sounds so weird to have like a summer self and transition into your summer self. If you get it, you get it. And if you don't, that is fine. Overall, my life transitioning from winter into spring doesn't look that different. I'm doing most of the same things. And although I'm doing the same day-to-day activities, I feel different. And part of that's because the seasonal depression is starting to fade. But I'm doing these little things to feel even better, even more energized. I'm doing things that almost encourage me to leave my winter habits, my winter self behind.